Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and I am super excited to have with me today Billie Aadmi. Billie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
For the audience's benefit, I just want you to know that Billie is my co-trainer in a lot of the trainings that we do together and has become an amazing friend, colleague, and I just wanted to bring her on the show to introduce to all of you and have her be able to share her story as to how she got into this work and how it's benefited her in her life. But first of all, I just want to introduce her. She is the CEO and founder of the Go Mindspire Inc., where she trains and coaches people to get into rapport with their unconscious mind using the world's most powerful mind-body tools. She guides her clients so that they can tap into infinite resources that the universe has waiting. She is a single mother of 2 beautiful children and a fur baby. She is also passionate and purpose-driven international real estate investor and is dedicated to cultivating a prosperous mindset in others through the transformative tools of NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. Billie emanates a gentle yet powerful energy to hold space to empower individuals to unlock their full potential to reach all their goals and dreams. She is transitioning from almost 2 decades of policing into her new mission of upleveling mindsets for lifelong success. So you've heard a lot of that in the language I've been using when I talk on this podcast because we are trained in all of these modalities, and it brings me so much joy to train with Billie and to bring her to this episode. So Billie, I would love for you to share, just you were in policing for 2 decades, you have a teaching degree. What has led you on this journey into this work that you have discovered and are now training others in?
Ooh, wow, that was a great intro. I sound really cool. I like that.
You do.
I love it. So yeah, I've had quite a journey, and it's never ending, right? Because we're never done. When we're done, we're dead, and we never want to be done. So I've always been on this quest of personal development and self-development, and just always wanting to be, better and grow and evolve. And at the core of me, I've always wanted to teach, and I've always wanted to serve. I went to school to be a teacher. Just didn't really fit me. The public school system just didn't really align with me. And so I somehow ended up into policing because for me, it was the ultimate job of service, to serve and protect. And I really enjoyed it. Wasn't sure how I was going to like it. And, after obviously almost 2 decades, it's been amazing. It's been rewarding. And then it started getting to the point where it wasn't anymore. And then I started, listening to that little voice that now I know is my higher self. Didn't even know what that was. And now I'm like, oh, that's what that was this whole time. That little voice that was saying, Billie, you're made for more. You need to do more. You have bigger, better things to do and more powerful things to do. And so, everything leads to certain areas. And I started a health coaching during the pandemic, and it led me to meet a hypnotherapist. And I was like, and she gave me a session and I couldn't believe it. And my opinion of hypnotherapy at that moment was stage hypnosis, what most people think of, like, the people that are up on stage and they make you, bark like a dog and cluck like a chicken. And I didn't take it seriously until she gave me a session, and I couldn't believe how deep she went. And I was like, what happened? And she's like, I tapped into your unconscious mind. I was like, what does that mean? And that's kind of put me down this rabbit hole because I was fascinated by it. I was like, I couldn't believe that after 30 years of therapy that I got so deep into this trauma that I had been carrying. And so one thing led to another, which got me connected to Dr. Kim Redmond, who is our trainer and our mentor. And, the way I learned about neuro-linguistic programming and timeline therapy, which I had never heard that term. I didn't even know what it was. And then obviously hypnotherapy and then coaching. And I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. And I went through my training last May and
And
was
just for
so
the
blown
audience, I'm
away.
just going to interrupt there just so the audience understands that's the practitioner level training. And those four modalities that you mentioned were all in the one training in 8 days. And that was NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and then NLP results coaching.
Yes. And I loved the idea that you could get 4 board designations, not just certificates, board designations in 8 days. Because as you said, I'm a single mom of 2. I was working full time as a police officer. I was like, how am I going to get this done? I can easily take a week off of work and get this done. And it wasn't the price was incredible too. A lot of trainings cost tens of thousands of dollars. And at one point, I was actually considering doing my master's in counseling because I really wanted to do something that still helped people, just maybe not in the policing avenue. And when I took the course, and as you've explained, this way that we do things, I'm sure you've explained in your podcast, is what we call a breakthrough. So I went through my breakthrough through this 8-day practitioner in May last year. And it just shifted everything for me. And I went straight to the master practitioner level. And then from there, we went straight to the trainer's level because I was like, this is what I meant to teach. Now I know why I went to school to be a teacher. Now I know why I was a police officer for 20 years, because now I could hold space for, instead of just dealing with people's trauma, now I can heal people's trauma. And it made so much more sense, and it's come so naturally. And if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be doing this and talking about the unconscious mind and the higher self, I would have laughed in your face because like, what are you talking about? I arrest bad guys for a living. It's not what are you talking about? It's woo-woo stuff. But I love how this woo-woo comes together with the neuroscience, and then it gets combined, which is what I love with Dr. Kim's programs, is that there's that quantum level of it. And that's why it's so fast. And I couldn't believe how quickly this work shifted my brain. And now, I learned more about it, and I was like, oh, no wonder I was getting in my own way. No wonder things weren't working out. And now, literally, that's what, my tagline for my company is: I just help you get out of your own way. And here we are, just helping people get out of their own way. And I love it.
And I love it too. And I also love what you were sharing there, how you went through your own breakthrough through that training, because this work is always for self first. We do the work on ourselves so that we are then in a position to be able to serve others and help others get out of their own way. And again, in just 8 days, that created profound impact in your life.
Yeah, because you're experiencing it. You're not just learning the techniques, you're actually receiving the techniques because you're a client as we're practicing, and then you're a coach, and then you're an observer. So you're getting so many different up levels because it's the experiential too. So you're actually feeling how these techniques work. I'm not just teaching you we're not just teaching how you actually do the techniques.
Exactly. And that's what sets this course apart from so many, is the fact that we know that it's
Oh.
not just the theoretical, it's the theoretical
Mm-hmm.
or the academic and the experiential that creates the wisdom, and that creates the
Yeah.
confidence for somebody to leave the course and then go out and start to build their competence by working with people because they've already done it during the 8 days with their classmates. And that's
Mm-hmm.
incredibly powerful. And I know that's what I appreciated when I did this course, is the fact that you're not just listening and hearing blah 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 for 8 days. You're actually doing the work for yourself and for
Yep.
others, and so you know that you've developed the skills and that you can go out and help others, and you've witnessed how powerful it is, how quick it is, how gentle it is. And my favorite part, and I
Mm-hmm.
know this is your favorite part too, you don't have to rehash your story of trauma and re-trigger it. The unconscious mind
Nope. I mean,
already knows that story.
mhm.
And we just have the unconscious mind get the learnings that it was meant to get from that trauma in order to make you move through it. So if you're
That's
willing
why I
to
loved
share, oh, go ahead.
yeah. I loved how we are told that we're not coaches. It's the unconscious mind that's the coach.
Hmm.
We are just the tour guide. And I love that
Yes.
The unconscious mind is so powerful, so wise, that we can just allow people to go where they need to go because we know the unconscious mind knows what it needs to resolve. And so we don't have to, we're just simply the tour guides that allow through these tools and techniques for it to go wherever it needs to go to release the trauma. So it's, yeah, it's really fascinating to watch now as a practitioner, to see when you see those results, and because they're so fast, right? They happen within minutes, that it's not like I'm working with you and now I have to wait a month or two for that to integrate. It literally happens momentarily because you are building new neural pathways, and that's how fast it works.
And that is the power of our mind. And I know when I started learning this and learning about the unconscious mind, one of the things that I hadn't realized is that the unconscious mind will actually repress traumatic memories until it feels safe to
Yeah.
bring them forth to the conscious mind to release them. And so that's why people in war zones don't
Mhm.
get PTSD in the war zone, they get it later when they come home. And when you combine that with the knowledge that everything is happening for us, it's because we're supposed to get the learning. And once we have the learning from that experience, then we can move through it. However, if we don't get the learning, we
Mhm.
stay stuck in it. And that's what you're talking about when you're talking about helping people get out of their own way, helping them move through
Mhm.
where they're getting stuck by showing them how to get the learnings and how to do that quickly with the unconscious mind, because that's what it wants. It's bringing them up so that they can be addressed.
Yeah, and that's why I love the power of this, that it's powerful yet it's gentle. Because as a first responder, a lot of, we see trauma all day, every day, and we don't, we're kind of trained to just push it down and push it down. Like you said, like when you're out in the war, in the battlefield, you can't be
Mhm.
worrying about your trauma or your feelings or your fear, and it just gets repressed. And then all of a sudden, that's why a lot of police officers, they go through so much stuff when they retire, because now all those memories and all those unrepressed emotions are not being presented. And now we know that with what we train, is that because that's the resolution needs to get there. Those learnings haven't been uploaded. And once we can allow that to happen through this timeline therapy process where we get to the root cause, it releases it, unravels all the other stuff that got connected to it. And now the space has been created. Now the universe can bring in all the new resources for you to now get to your next level of being. And that's why I love, I know we're going to talk about it in a moment, but the Designing Your Destiny workshop,
Mhm.
that what that team created. And I found it so powerful for someone that had no idea about this world, had no foundation about how the unconscious mind works, how, boundaries work, how do you make decisions, these kinds of things. We just use those programs that we've been using our entire life. And a lot of them are just programs that our 7-year-old wants to run. And when you have your 7-year-old running your life, sometimes just things are hectic and they don't go the way you need them to go. And that's why I got a license for it, because it's such a beautiful introduction into this work. And it builds that nice little foundation, that nice little cup for you to understand, now that makes sense about why I'm getting in my own way. Now that makes sense why this is a trigger for me, because the trigger is simply the unconscious mind presenting something to you to resolve. And most people
Exactly.
just put the hand up and say, I don't want to deal with
No
it.
thanks. Yep.
It gets loud enough and louder and louder.
And
Yeah.
then, and many times people are trying to make the triggers go away. And
Yeah.
yet life happens. We're never going to make the triggers go away. What we can do though is we can rewire the brain so that the brain goes this way instead of that way when triggered. And so that you can
Yep.
respond in a way that you want to respond instead of losing your mind on that particular trigger. And again, we can rewire that neurology in seconds. And I
That's what I
also,
love.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just
Mhm.
going to say, I also love what you were sharing there in terms of how our inner 5-year-old is running our life. The analogy that I love to give to listeners is that we're born like the hardware of a computer. And we spend the next 7 to 9 years in this mode of download, download, download all the software so that we know how to live within our family unit, within school, within society expectations. And it's all literally programming. And the
Yeah.
unconscious mind also likes to conserve energy because it has a lot to do. It keeps us breathing, it keeps our heart pumping, it keeps us breaking down our food and getting the nutrients to our cells. So it will conserve energy where it can. So if it finds a program that works, it will just keep running it over and over and over again until you find
Yeah.
yourself in your mid 20s or your 30s or your 40s and you're stuck. You're hitting a wall because it no longer works for you. And that's when you know, okay, I need to up level or upgrade my program. We upgrade our phones every time we get an alert that it needs an upgrade. We're not aware
Mhm.
of the fact that we need to be upgrading our own neurology and that we can actually do that very easily.
Yeah, I love the analogy of the phone because as you said, we're always doing these upgrades and so that the system runs more efficiently. And with all these upgrades, these updates, the first thing it does is get rid of the viruses and the bugs. Because I think in society, a lot of the times now, we're always wanting to just put more in, put more in, put more in, go learn, go take this course, go do that, and go do this. And really, when it comes down to it, those core issues are not been dealt with. Those viruses and those bugs are still in there. And that's why I think timeline therapy is so powerful because we're releasing all the viruses and the bugs, we're getting rid of it. Then we're going in and figuring out what applications are just sucking your energy and draining your battery. Let's get rid of those. You don't need those anymore. And now let's put in the apps and the programs that are actually going to help you run more efficiently and actually get to the results that you want, which is why we're called results coaches. We work with people to get results. We switch their behavior, which is why we can guarantee our results in writing, which I found myself was one of the most powerful things I could guarantee my clients is that what other industry can guarantee results when it comes to behavior?
Yeah, there is.
Nobody. And
Exactly.
most of them are conscious. And we know
Mhm.
now that all learning, all behavior, and all change happen in that order at the level of the unconscious mind, not consciously. And that
Did
in
you hear
itself
that?
is
I just want to
very
see, I
empowering.
just want to ask the listeners, did you hear that? Because that is something that needs to be said again.
Yeah, in that order. You have to learn it first. Then you have to actually experience, like you were talking about, the behavior, and then the change happens. That's that Vesica Pisces, which we teach in designing your destiny, is how that all that works. That the overlapping of those two rings, that doorway to God is what we call it. That Vesica Pisces, that sacred geometry. That's where that change happens. If you just learn it or if you just experience it, you don't get the combination. So you have to get it to that level where that change happens at that unconscious level, so that unconsciously, that's the neurology that gets fired. And that's what I love about this work is we're just offering people new neurological choices. And that's empowering.
It's very empowering to have those new choices. And the other thing that I love about this work is this is a do with me work. You and I aren't doing anything to anybody. We're not doing
Yeah.
anything for anybody. As you said earlier, we are the guide, their unconscious mind is the coach, and we are doing this work with them. And
Yep.
after we go through the work, you, as the client, continue to be practicing what you've been learning because that's how we deepen the neurological pathway. The quick shifts that we make are like little tiny bunny trails, right? And then the more you practice it, the more that becomes a 2 lane road and then a 4 lane road. And then before you know it, it's an 8 lane highway and it's just automatic. And that's how we create behavior change. It's all in the unconscious mind. Most people are relying on willpower. And willpower is
Yep.
housed in the conscious mind, which is only 10% of our mind. So you're using the wrong tool for the job if you're trying to create behavior change with willpower.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it doesn't work
Totally.
because we see it fail with New Year's resolutions every single year.
Yep.
So, Billy, tell us a little bit more about what people can expect when they come to designing your destiny.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. So Dr. Kim Redmond, she's the one who created the program. She's been part of the mystery schools for about 35 years, and she also holds a PhD in neuroscience. So I love that she brings the woo together with the science, and she brings it together because there's so much wisdom in the mystery schools, these ancient wisdoms that have been passed down to us by all these beautiful civilizations. It's like they're giving us the manual, the operating manual of how to do life, how to get to your best love, to your best self. And so if we can bring that together with the neuroscience, which is why she loves this work, and combine this in with what she was doing, because then people can understand, well, how does this actually work in my brain? How does this actually break down into how the NLP communication model works? Because it's a system. And we teach you and do give you an introduction into how the system works. We don't just work on one part of the system, we work on the entire system. And, I won't get too much into it, but the information comes in and it goes through filters. And then once it goes through the filters, the way it comes out of that filter determines how our life goes. So if we can work on those filters and shift those filters so that they are the ones that allow the information, the good information to come out, instead of the one that creates the horror show, let's create the one that creates the love story, because that takes us from victim island over to solution city. And that's our goal with our clients, is that we teach them how to create their hero's journey, because everybody's got trauma. We all do. It's a matter of how do you take those lessons that you learn? Like you said, it needs to just upload the lessons and now take that and move forward in your life with it and be at the cause side of life. And it's a great introduction because people sometimes understand what cause and effect is. They don't realize how much they're actually at effect. And it's a really good awareness into how this whole system works, how the unconscious mind works. We talk about some sacred geometry. There's 6 gifts and 6 secrets. And we do an amazing Prometheus induction after day 1. It's super fun, planting suggestions into your brain about learning and moving ahead. And we do some boundary setting, because anywhere in your life that you have chaos or drama, you simply have a lack of boundaries, which was huge for me because I realized I had a lot of drama in my life.
And what I
And we
love
teach you
about that is that it's boundary setting that is completely non-confrontational. A lot of people
totally
think setting
take
boundaries
emotion
is
out of
going to cause arguments. However, yeah, we just teach you how to do it
it.
without the emotion.
Yeah,
And
it's a protocol.
exactly.
Yeah. And what people think is boundaries are to keep people out. No. And that's what I used to think. So we shifted that boundaries is an area so that you can have a safe space to grow and evolve. That's what boundaries are meant for. And so it takes literally the drama out. If there's no emotion involved in it, and it's simply a step-by-step protocol that we teach you. Same thing with strategic thinking. People are always on the fence about, should I do this? Should I do that? And their brain is just, it's too much. Like, I don't know what to do this. And it freezes them. It's like analysis paralysis.
The
So
amygdala is firing and you can't make a
we
decision. The
hijack.
amygdala is firing. Exactly.
Yep. So we teach you how to get off the fence, and literally it's another just step by step. And it's so simple. It takes the emotion out of it, and it just allows you to take control of your life instead of being like all over the place, literally having a structure of how you want to move forward in your life. It allows you to take control of your life and then move forward. And then of course the ancient wisdoms are just really, really fascinating when you learn about how sacred geometry works, and just some simple things about how we let our ego get in our way a lot of the time, which keeps us on victim island.
Yes. And I also hear that the restaurants are way better in Solution City,
And there's
aren't
music
they?
parks, and I love what you say. You say that there's personal power stores all over the place, and
Yes.
you can, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And I love that analogy too, because that's exactly where it is. That's where your power is. You're disempowered over here. And I know empowerment is a little bit overplayed, this term, but what that means is, how do you take what happens to you and use it to be better, as opposed to use it to get stuck on a story and keep you planted on victim island. And trust me, like, you've heard me say this before, like I was planted hard on victim island. I used to like have barbecues and invite people over for margaritas and, oh my gosh, this happened to me and I can't be this and and woe is me. And then I realized that, what, it's way more fun over here. Life is funner over here. And so, I use the analogy that I have this beautiful beachfront home on the water, and I have a dock with a speedboat. And sometimes I jump in my speedboat and I zip over back to victim island because, life happens. And then I get there and I realize, this place sucks. It's no fun. And I just get back over there and I deal with it and I continue on with life instead of it letting me take me down.
Because you have the tools to be able
Yeah.
to help you move from Victim Island to Solution City very quickly. And you're
Fast.
putting them into effect. And, that was like me with my most recent story with the cancer diagnosis that I've been sharing far and wide, because I want people to know they have options in their healing journey,
Yeah.
options in their life. And yes, I could have gone into Victim Island when I heard the surgeon tell me, blah, 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 this is what you have to do. And instead, I drove home from that appointment going, how is this happening for me? What can I do about it? And I moved myself very quickly back into Solution City because I had the tools that I could use. And I was using my timeline therapy, I was using my meta medicine
Yeah.
because I have those tools. So again, I'm using this for self in my own life, working with clients and training others, because I know you are in agreement with this. This work is so profound and so powerful and can positively impact the lives of so many. We just want more people to know about it. and
Correct.
to have access to the power of their unconscious mind, because people, this is not taught at school. I didn't learn anything about my unconscious mind in school, and yet
I
it's 90% of my mind.
wow. And this is the biggest thing I tell people is you don't know what you don't know. And until you do, you're just going to be running the same programs and the
Hmm.
same, then people consciously think, well, that sounds too good to be true. It actually does.
And
And
that's
when
the
I first,
programming.
exactly. And when I first learned it, I was like, did it really just, oh my gosh, you're right. Like I literally can't feel that anymore. I really just don't have that limiting, like, where did it go? I was literally like, what happened to it? And it's because now my brain's just rewired. It's a firing another way. And that's what I love about this, is that it's science-based. This is not like, we teach also in Designing Your Destiny of how many neurological connections we have, which are more than all the grains of sand on all the beaches in the entire world. So that's how many opportunities you have to change. So when people think they can't change, they don't have, they're just really, really
Really,
stubborn.
really stubborn.
Yeah.
And
Which was
I
I
just
used to be.
I just want to share, because we just completed our second 8-day mind body practitioner training. And two of our students, well, all three had profound, profound results. I want to share the comments of two students. One of them said, I've been, dealing with my trauma for over 30 years, helping others with their trauma for 20 years. And this is the first time that I've ever actually been able to feel peace and quiet inside my mind without first meditating for 3 hours.
Can you put a price on that? Like that's
No, you
priceless.
can't. You
That
can't.
quietness up here, it's priceless. And I'll just speak to that is that I tell people like I graduated from therapy after doing this.
And I love that.
And because my therapist, after 30 years, after she saw my transformation, she's like, Billie, you don't need me anymore. Like you literally can manage your life and you don't need me. And I was like, are you saying I'm graduating from therapy? And I was like, amazing. Like who graduates from, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was possible. And here I am. And it happened literally in a week.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love that story. And then another student's story was saying, I've been doing work on myself for 30 years and I've tried all of these different modalities. And she said, and all of them helped,
I do.
but none of them wiped it away completely like we've just done this week.
Yeah.
And again, she was so grateful for that.
And that's the difference of taking it at the root as opposed
Hmm.
to in the middle, because it'll give you some time. It won't grow back, but it's still going to grow.
Right.
If you can pull the root out completely, it
It's
literally
gone.
disappears.
It's gone.
The problem's gone. The trauma's gone. Yeah.
And then another comment
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
got, which I loved as well, was I came for the CEU credits and I got so much more. I had no idea how much I was going to get out of this.
Love that. Yeah. And
Exactly.
that is the theme of even when I work with clients is okay, the way I explained it to you at the beginning of what this was going to be, do you understand it now? And all of them are saying, no, it's way more. And this is the biggest challenge with what we do is trying to explain to people what you're going to get out of it until you actually experience it. Because again, you have to experience it in order to actually feel it. Because you don't have the programs and the knowledge to understand what we're saying because you haven't experienced it. It would be like I kind of sometimes explain like this, like I can't talk to you about what rain is unless you understand what water is first. Because if you don't know what water is, you won't understand what raining means. Because what does rain mean if you don't understand the water is coming down? And so that's why I loved starting with Designing Your Destiny, because it gives you that good foundation. And then once we build on that, once we do it, the actual techniques, oh, okay, now I get why that technique works on this neurological pathway and why it literally disappears and why it connects and why we can make anchors and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
And
powerful, gentle, and fast. Those are the three biggest descriptions of what this work is, and all at once.
and so incredibly effective.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. And so Designing Your Destiny is a 2-day course.
2-day workshop. We usually do it online. I'm doing my first one in person here in Vancouver, actually Richmond. It's a suburb out of Vancouver, June 15 and 16. That one we're including lunch and we're doing some fun ceremony on the first night. And then the next one online is in August. So we usually do it every other month. And Melissa's always, well, you're not going to be there for the in-person one, but for the online one, I love having you there because you just bring in your own, experience and share your knowledge, and just help facilitate and just support the students that are there. And there's always transformations, even in those 2 days. Even in
Yes.
those 2 days, there has never been somebody that left without saying, wow, that was powerful. And we said, that's literally not even scratching the surface of what we do. And so then, that's obviously an introduction to our practitioner course. And a lot of people do decide to do it because they want to learn, or they want to do the one-on-one coaching because they see the power of it as well.
Right. And for those that want to learn, is because their mind just gets open to, wow, look at this power that I have between my ears and in my whole body that I didn't even realize I had, and I want to learn those tools.
Wow.
And so the Designing Your Destiny weekend workshop in August is August 17th and 18th. And it's very, very inexpensive. And I will put a promo code in the show notes as well for people to be able to access it. That is the give back to the community, to have people create, have that initial awareness of there's so much more that we as human beings can do and can achieve and can be when we understand how to use the tools of our unconscious mind. And
Yeah, that
so
weekend is valued about $10,000, and it's like a minimal cost, and it literally is only because we have to put time, money, and energy towards anything. So our unconscious mind knows that this is valuable, because unconsciously free equals valueless. And if we could do it for free, we would. And I think it's practically free. It doesn't even,
it is
there's not
practically free.
anything under $100 is, like a meal out, right?
For
So
a
this is
2 day workshop, yeah, that's practically free.
it is. Yeah.
However, it offers so much value just in terms of opening people's minds to the possibilities. And that's what I really love about it. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming on and sharing about our work and the workshops with Designing Your Destiny. Our next prac course is going to be running September 21 to 28th. And then we're also running one November 23rd to 30th. And we have been loving teaching those together, as well as our students' feedback has been incredibly positive about how we work together. And so that's been really
Yeah.
fun as well. So shifting
And I
gears,
think we have a few spots. We have a few spots left for September still, correct?
yes, we do.
September is open as well.
Yes, November is open, and September, though, is filling up fast. So we just have a couple spots left.
Yeah.
And the links to that will also be in the show notes for everyone. Shifting gears a little bit, though, Billy, I love to ask every single guest that comes on this show, what does "don't wait for your wake up call" mean to you?
So I heard this analogy. When I heard it, I was like, oh man, that was so me. So the universe has a way of speaking to us. And when we're not on our path of where we're meant to be and what we're supposed to do, it'll first throw you a little grain of sand. And it'll be like, most people are like, oof, what was that? That was kind of annoying. And they just ignore it. And then there'll be like a little rock, and then a pebble, and then a bigger stone. And then, like the big boulder will come in front of you. And a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to move this boulder. And they're just fighting and they're fighting it, and then unfortunately, what we say is like pain means pay attention. Something's happening that you need to adjust. And most people unfortunately wait for, the house of the Wizard of Oz to fall on you, and then someone steals your shiny shoes. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so there. People are always stealing my shiny shoes. Why do I wait till that point? So for me, it's like if something is not in alignment in your life, or it's not where it wants to be, that's your clue to be like, okay, there's some gap in skills and I need to fill those gaps. And how can I do that? And I think this work can help fill so many gaps for so many people.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'm just going to add in on that too, because it just made me think of it in terms of whole body health is we're all interconnected, right?
Yep.
And if you just look at your physical body
Yeah.
and you ignore your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body, you're not going to be able to achieve whole health. So somebody who's maybe had a cancer journey and they've addressed it in their physical body, and then 2 years later, perhaps they get a new diagnosis of cancer or something else. And that's because the emotional body's going, hello, hello, you didn't look after me.
What about
You
me?
need to
Yeah.
look after me. Or maybe it's the mental body or the spiritual body. And so that's where this work is so powerful because we are working with the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body.
Mhm.
And that's how people get to whole health and lasting longevity, which really is what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, how can people get hold of you, Billie, if they would like to reach out and connect with you?
I'm on all the socials. On Instagram, I'm go.mindspire. Facebook, I'm Billie IREI, because I'm also an international real estate investor. That's what that last stands for. And LinkedIn, my name is there. But my website is gomindspire.com. Otherwise, they could get a hold of me through you, since we train together. And if anyone ever wants to chat and learn more, even about real estate, I would love to talk to them about real estate too. So that's one of my passions as well.
Beautiful. And I know we're offering a gift, or you're offering a gift of 25% off Designing Your Destiny weekend. So I've put
Correct.
that promo code in the show notes for people as well. And again, if you can say the June dates again, and which is for the in-person one,
Yeah, June 15 and 16. It's a Saturday, Sunday.
and then
And
the
then August 17 and 18 online.
August 17, 18 online. Perfect.
Yep.
Any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience, Billie?
Don't wait till the house of the Wizard of Oz falls on you. Make the investment in yourself, because this work that will help you in all areas of your life for the rest of your life, not just for now. Whether you are a parent, it's made me such a better parent. Uh, as a friend, as I'm still single, but when I'm in a relationship again, it'll just help me with my relationship, because we learn how to build rapport and communication skills, and just again not make stories out of things. And it just really helps you. If you think of the analogy of a checkerboard, we want to stay on the white squares, and life will happen and it'll get you on the black square, but how quickly can you get back to the white squares? And like I said, learning to live at the cause and solution city, it is just such a more fun place to be. And life is all about growing and evolving and up leveling. And if you can have skills that will literally allow you to do that for the rest of your life, it will be invaluable and priceless for this investment that you make in your life. And it's never too late. And that's the thing I love
Mhm.
about it. It's never too late to actually change your brain. You're never, like, that saying, like, old dog, new tricks. You'll never too old. I'm 48, so I'm, finally in this time of my life, I finally have gotten that peace and that resilience and dealt with all my stuff that I needed to deal with. And now it's made me a better mom, and life is just more fun. And that's what it should be. We all have gifts. We all have the magnificence. It was already written in the stars, right? Like our highest potential is there. It's just a matter of how do you get up and reach it. So that's why we just teach people to get out of their own way, so that they can tap into the beautiful resources that are there for you, and then you live your best life.
It's beautiful, and it's so true because we witness it in our clients, we witness it in our students, we've witnessed it in our colleagues that have gone through all of these courses with us. And the getting out of your own way, that piece is so key. And I just want to say that often it takes something big to notice when we're in our own way. However, if after hearing this podcast, you can just take a step back and go, am I not getting where I want to be going as quickly as I want to get there? Maybe it's because I'm starting to get in my own way.
Yeah.
And so it's also never too soon to do this work, right? You can literally do this work anytime. And sometimes it takes the awareness of an outside person to show you when you're getting in your own way, because that unconscious program is exactly that. It's unconscious. You're not aware that you're running it.
Exactly. We're always wanting to be better. And if you are at this place where you're stagnant, you're just coasting through life. And it could be like life could be good, right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, life's great." I'm like, "Well, don't, is there, everyone can make more money. There's nobody in the world that says, no, I make enough money. I don't need any more." You know, you could, because the more money you have, the more you can give, the more you can do with it, the more memories you can have. And even for that, like, your relationship, there's always areas in your life that you can improve. And in fact, if you don't believe that, I think you should shift the mindset that every area should be improved. You should be up leveling, because there always is another level. You're never done. Like we said at the beginning, like you're done when you're dead. So let's never be done. And life can always be more fun, and it can always be more loving, and it can always be more exciting. So even if your life is good, like you're not complaining about anything, just have that level of curiosity that, well, what if it could be better? What if I could, you don't know what you don't know. And that's why we always teach our clients to stay in that state of curiosity, stay in that state of excitement. Those are very high vibration because you never know what you're going to learn. Right. And that's why we can guarantee that people will always up level from this course. They will always be a better version of themselves when they do this stuff. So it's, like I said, I think it's for everybody. I think if the entire world could go through timeline therapy, it would be a whole different world we'd live in.
Exactly. Exactly. I fully agree. So thank you so much for your time coming on the show, Billy, sharing all of your wisdom here. Really, really appreciate it. And to my audience, I invite you to get curious. Are you interested in starting to figure out maybe more about your unconscious mind, or just something that you don't know? Step into learning what that is, or moving to Solution City, buying a condo there. How does that sound? So I invite you to reach out to Billy or myself if you'd like to know more, and also share this with someone in your life that you know could benefit from this as well. So thank you for always tuning in to the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast, and for learning and growing and taking control of your life each and every day. Do you currently work with clients through some aspect of transformation in their lives, whether it be in their health, their relationships, their business, their careers? And would you like to be able to help them achieve their goals even more quickly with powerful tools? In fact, the most powerful mind-body tools on the planet? If so, you're going to want to know about this training course that I am running starting in October, at the end of October. It is the 8-day mind-body practitioner training, which will train you at the practitioner level in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which works with the unconscious mind as we rewire their strategies, their patterns, etc., to get them to break through and get the transformation they're looking for. We also work with timeline therapy, which again is working with the unconscious mind as we release limiting beliefs, as well as detox the body of stored negative emotion, as well as working with hypnotherapy, a powerful tool for changing behaviors and creating the life that somebody wants with these new behaviors, and an NLP coaching designation, which is on par with the International Federation of Coaching, ICF, certification. And once designated, your certifications or designations are recognized in 42 countries around the world. If you'd like to learn more about how you can bring these tools into your toolbox in order to have greater impact with your clients and change their lives, because I know that's what you want, please reach out and let's have a conversation.